It is the first day of spring here in Ohio, and that means it is time for some ribs. We are out here at the Lone Star Grillz pellet grill, and we're gonna be making a special treat for you today, doing something a little different than I've ever done before. We're gonna focus here on the ribs. These are some St. Louis style spare ribs, and we're gonna be doing these no wrap in the smoke for about 5 to 6 hours until these are absolutely perfect. I'm gonna be doing these with a little bit of a twist today. I'm gonna show you exactly what it takes to make these ribs. Now, when it comes to ribs, I've been very successful on the channel. I've got many videos with hundreds of thousands and in some cases millions of views with ribs. So I've got some tips and tricks that I can show you along the way that'll help you make some of the best ribs of your life. And today with these ribs, we're gonna be doing something a little bit special. So stick around and I'm gonna show you my secret ingredient today. Some Skippy's peanut butter. When it comes to ribs, I'm more of a baby back kind of guy, but that's just me personally. But today we're gonna be using some St. Louis style ribs. I like St. Louis style over spare ribs because of the extra cartilage and trimming that sometimes needs to occur when you get those. Honestly, I just like to have it done for me. Sometimes you're gonna pay a little bit more, but you have less waste and less time invested. Do what's best for you. I'm just telling you what I personally like. Let's go ahead and get these opened up here. Got these 2 racks here, picked them up at Meijer yesterday, about 10 bucks a rack, about on point for what you're gonna pay for ribs. Even when you go to Costco, I'm paying about 30 bucks for 3 racks of ribs. All right, the next important step with any successful rib is to pat dry them off. Get rid of any of that purge, that is the juices, the blood, just that liquid that is on the surface of the ribs. Look at that. That is what we want to get rid of off of these ribs. Why? We don't want that on there because we're going to be controlling the moisture by using a binder today. And it's also going to help when it comes to the next step, which is going to be removing that membrane. Now, this next step is controversial, and that is removing the membrane. You're going to hear big time barbecue guys, barbecue restaurants, famous people say, you don't need to remove the membrane. I'm gonna tell you that they're not wrong, but they're also not telling you the whole story. Any successful rib cook, I'm gonna tell you it is best to take the membrane off, whether that's baby back, whether that's spare ribs, whether that's St. Louis cut. The reason why is it is a chewy, leathery membrane on the back. You can score it, sure, but that little bit of extra effort is going to increase the overall outcome of the ribs slightly. That extra 5 or 10% might be all you need, but if you're only making 1 or 2 racks of ribs, go ahead and remove it. Now, I understand some of these big barbecue joints down in Texas or across the country, they're not removing the ribs because they're making hundreds of racks of ribs a day. Imagine if they had to remove every single membrane off of every single rack they cook. They're gonna pay someone a full-time wage just to be the membrane remover. So I get it, but when I'm cooking in my backyard, the best ribs are made by removing the membrane. If you don't like that, don't do it. But I'm telling you, from my experience, from the hundreds of racks of ribs that I've cooked in my backyard for my family and friends, the best results are by removing the membrane. There's a couple methods though when it comes to removing the membrane that's gonna give you easier results. I like to start off with a butter knife and some clean and dry paper towel. This is one of the reasons why we wiped it off. The paper towel is for grip. Once we get the membrane starting to pry off, you can grab it with a dry piece of paper towel and pull it off no problem. This butter knife is best served by finding the backside of a bone and carefully sliding it in between the membrane and the bone to separate and give a little tug just to give you enough room to get in with your finger in this paper towel to pull up. So to demonstrate, I'll find here on this rack of ribs. And you want to just be gentle because if you're aggressive with it, you can tear the membrane and then you got about 500 strands of membrane you're trying to pull off the back, and really it makes for a pain. But you can see here, I've already got it pulled up. I've got enough room to get my finger in there, got enough room to grip it with that paper towel, and I'm just gonna hold the rack down with one hand and I'm gonna get the membrane pulled away across the entire rack so that the width-wise, we've got it pulled apart. And then in one swipe, we'll just keep consistent pressure. There's the membrane. That easy. St. Louis style are already trimmed up, they're squared up. They are spare ribs that are squared up, essentially. but there's always gonna be some hangers or some thin edges like this kind of stuff that you're gonna see here. I'm gonna take that and I'm just gonna square up this side here. Set this off to the side. And I'm gonna trim up anything that may be hanging off. But when you buy St. Louis style, they're generally cut pretty well, and you're not gonna have to do a whole lot. That's kind of the purpose of the St. Louis style. The next step is a binder. We're gonna be using some yellow mustard today as a binder. We're not gonna use a lot, but we're doing this to just control a little bit of the moisture on the ribs, just a little bit. I'll take my other hand here and just slather it in. This helps keep the rub to stick. You can use oil, you can use mustard. I've seen people use mayo. I'm not sure about mayo, I've never done it myself, but what I've noticed though is what you use as a binder really doesn't show through to the flavor. I've seen people use hot sauce before. I've even used hot sauce as a binder, and you don't really get that heat come through in the end. So realistically, whatever you use is just to help the rub stick. Today, for the rub, I'm gonna be using some of the Sucklebusters Texas Pecan. It's gonna go really well with the end result. I'm gonna give a nice coating on both sides of these ribs. Same thing here. Hit it with the binder. Now you can see with these spare ribs, they have some great marbling. Whenever I'm at the store, I am looking for some well marbled spare ribs. And when I'm buying multiple racks of spare ribs, or any ribs, I'm always looking for racks that are very similar in weight and size and shape and dimensions. I want them to be done around the same time. Looks like I'm gonna be needing more of this Sucklebusters Texas Pecan. We're about out of rub here, but just enough for these 2 racks of ribs. Honestly, it's that simple. We've got 2 racks of ribs ready to go. We got the Lone Star Grillz pellet grill running at 250 degrees. It's up to temp, and these are ready to go in. I'm gonna move the cameras around, and I'll meet you over there. All right, we're over here at the Lone Star Grillz, 250 degrees. We're running some of the Texas Pecan pellets mixed in with some of the Lone Star Grillz oak wood chips. We got some good smoke rolling out of this thing. We're gonna put these up here on the top rack. It's where I love to put a lot of it. It keeps it up off of the bottom, keeps it up in the smoke. Now, a couple tricks when it comes to ribs. I like to put the meatier side towards the firebox. That's where the more heat is going to be. So here's the meatier side, here's the meatier side. So I'm gonna grab them and I'm gonna place them here, kind of in the center of the grill, like so, and like so. Now the other trick when it comes to ribs, they're gonna cook however you place them on the smoker. What I like to do is I want them to cook meatier. A meatier bite. So I'm gonna scrunch them together. So I'm gonna push all of that meat a little tighter together to shorten the rack of ribs, just like so. Like I said, they're gonna cook how we lay them in here, and they're gonna cook a little bit meatier. So, got them in there like so. Now these ribs are wet right now. We don't have to worry about spritzing. We don't have to worry about nothing for probably a couple hours. We're running at 250 degrees. It's probably gonna take, in a no wrap situation like we're doing today, anywhere from 5 to 6 hours if our temperatures are consistent. We will check in, we will talk times once we get a little further into cook, because you know, there's a lot of things and factors that can play into the actual cook time, and we'll go over that as we go. But honestly, we probably have a solid 1.5 to 2 hours of absolutely nothing. So I'm gonna go inside, we'll put these cameras away, I'm gonna clean up a little bit, and I'll see you guys out here when it's time to spritz and we talk about those next steps. All right, we're about 2 hours in. I got my spritzer bottle in here. I've got some Worcestershire sauce, some apple cider vinegar, a little bit of beer, a little bit of cherry juice. Got everything I need there. Let's check on these ribs. Oh, they are looking good. You can see the fat starting to render a little bit. We've got a little dryness there. What you want to do before you spritz is you want to wait until the rub sets up. Otherwise, you're going to wash it off. Now, we are plenty dry at this point, and I'm just going to spritz a little bit. Now we're 2 hours in, so we're not even quite halfway in, and that's the first time we've spritzed. I'm gonna be checking them about every 45 minutes to an hour, so you don't need to go crazy. We just don't want them to dry out. But as you can see, the fat was starting to render on those ribs, so they're gonna keep themselves a little bit on the moist side anyways, but just keep an eye on them. Make sure the surface doesn't get too dry. Spritz when you need. 45 minutes to an hour. We're gonna be checking tenderness, but not for a few more hours. We need to get at least that 5-hour mark before these are gonna be close to done. See you in a bit. All right, we're about 5 hours and 10 minutes in here. Let's take a look at these ribs. I mean, just incredible color. Look at that. Nice and dark. Beautiful color there. Now I'm gonna show you a little test or trick here. Get yourself a toothpick. And in between the bones, you can test the tenderness and see. If you don't have a lot of resistance when poking these through, then you know they're done or pretty close to done. Now, I can tell you that these are close enough to where we're gonna start saucing them. So, let me get the sauce. I'm gonna show you what we're doing special here with these ribs. We're about 5 hours and 15 minutes in. It's time for the secret sauce, and that is peanut butter. Yes, you heard it right. We're doing peanut butter ribs today. We've made our own homemade satay sauce, and that is a coconut milk, red curry paste, and Skippy's creamy peanut butter. Sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, it's delicious. It's time to sauce these up. They're tender enough, as I just showed you. I've already made the sauce in a saucepan, heated it up just so that it was a little warmer and smoother and softer so that it would go on easier onto these ribs. Let's get over here to the smoker and do it. Oh man, you guys think I'm crazy. Well, I probably am a little bit crazy. I mean, putting peanut butter on ribs, it sounds insane, but if you've ever been to a good Thai restaurant or somewhere with a peanut sauce, it's honestly pretty good. I mean, it's very savory, and it'll be perfect for what we're doing here today. Now, I'm gonna start here by flipping these over, and I'm gonna carefully flip these ribs, and I'm gonna start by saucing the back side. Ooh, these are nice and tender, and also nice and hot. Get in here with my satay sauce here. Oh, nice and fluffy peanut butter. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying that. We're putting peanut butter on ribs, but believe me, as crazy as it sounds, if you're looking to impress your guests this summer, this is one of those recipes they're gonna be talking about and telling everybody at work, telling all their family and friends. So it's definitely worth checking out. Peanut butter jelly time. Oh my gosh. This just sounds crazy. Now, I will put the recipe down in the description so that you can see exactly what I'm using for this sauce with the exact measurements. It's super simple, 3 ingredients, and took me all of about 5 minutes to make, and that includes heating it up in a saucepan to get the right consistency and get it to mix well. But, ladies and gentlemen, my peanut butter ribs. I'm gonna get them back in the smoker, let that sauce set up a little bit. Might even sauce them one more time if we need to, but be sure to save a little bit for the end for the final product, because you never know, you might want to dip it in some peanut butter. All right, that sauce is set up. It is time to get these ribs out, and I want to show you what we've done. Oh man, these ribs are tender. Look at that. Those right there, some peanut butter ribs. They sound crazy because they are crazy. Let's go try them. Now look, peanut butter ribs sounds ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, but the savory, the sweet, really doesn't fall that far away from barbecue. And in a lot of cultures, a peanut-based sauce is introduced into cooking. So today, that's what we tried today with this sauce. Now, all of this work means nothing until you dive on in to these ribs. So, got my knife here. Now, I wanted bite off the bone ribs. Now you can see we've got nice smoke penetration. We got a nice kind of crust, peanut butter crust. Sounds crazy for a rib. But none of this matters until we give it a try. I can tell you by looking and feeling, they're tender, they're juicy, and they smell kind of like peanut butter. See what happens. Nice clean bite, that's for sure. So I mean, as far as these ribs go, they are cooked to perfection. I get a little bit of heat from the red curry and from the Texas pecan that we use from the seasoning. These ribs are delicious. Now, if you have a peanut allergy, this sauce is not for you. But for the rest of us, these are delicious. Now, I've seen in the past where people do peanut butter and jelly ribs, like this with a good strawberry or grape jelly, just a slight base before we put the peanut butter on, would have made for some crazy ribs. But to be honest with you, the peanut butter's nice. They're very different, but I actually really like them. I feel like I could dunk a rib right into that peanut butter sauce though. I feel like I could get so much more. Like that. That's what I'm talking about. That's some peanut butter. Oh yeah. You just need a little bit more peanut butter like that. That is heavenly. Perfect bite. Perfect flavor profile. Perfect ribs. Now look, you don't have to make peanut butter ribs. You could follow that method and put any sauce on there that you want. But if you want to try something different, want to swing for the fences, peanut butter ribs might just be the recipe for you. But if you're not sure, I've got a bunch of other recipes when it comes to backyard barbecue and when it comes to ribs, and I'm going to tell you right now, I've got millions of views on ribs. I know a couple things about ribs. I'm not going to claim to be an expert or a chef or anything fancy like that. But I have a bunch of videos. I think you should start with this one right here.